All right, thank you for staying with us. And it's still about the state of the nation and the insecurity in our nation. And that's the matters arising. And as regards these, the president met with security chiefs yesterday, the DIA, you know, chair, everybody that truly matters, the IGP, everybody, and it's still towards this part. There you go. You saw the meeting, which is a high-level meeting. We see our Professor Yesoji with us, is a security scholar from the Premier University of Ibadan. Thank you, Prof, for staying with us. Now, this is, and of course, very shortly we'll have, somebody in the military join us, even though retired. But Prof, now, the issue of the withdrawal of those soldiers from Kebbi, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, that the president has dispatched to Kebbi, by the way, to go and stay there and, coordinate things till those students from Kebbi are brought back, has talked on the matter and said the matter is right now being interrogated. He said the military, that's the Nigerian army, to be specific, are speaking to those soldiers to know what really happened in that particular instance. And so there are sometimes I say, will there be anything really reasonable? Because there is a way the military protect their own in a kind of way, not really saying they harbor corruption or all of those things, but we'll see the way they handle their matters. And maybe the junior officers might be the fall guy, because some might say there is no way those guys could have pulled out from that place without being directly ordered by a superior officer. So the question for me is three here, and I could take it from there. Who ordered it? We learned there is a probe going on. Number two, why should that that withdrawal happen in the middle of the night, 3 a.m.? That ungodly hours, the students were left opened in the middle of the night. And less than 1 hour, those assailants came into that school and did that havoc. So what really happened? And the governor is saying there was an intelligence. That's why those good troops got there and everything has been secured. So by inference, we can say by the time they were leaving, they didn't inform the governor, who escalated the matter. Can you look into those issues?
Thank you so much. Again, it's very disturbing. The governor himself has come out to say that there was an intelligence, and that led to the deployment of the military to the school, one. Then there was a withdrawal of the personnel, military personnel there. The question now, as you ask, who gave the order? Those personnel that left the base or the beat, as I put it here, must have left the beat at that point in time on the order of a superior officer. So we need to know the defense, the person in charge of the defense information has come out to say that the military itself will investigate this matter. For me, it's very disturbing. It only shows one thing, that something is missing or something is fishy somewhere, which, of course, we must unravel. Thank you.
All right, Prof. Another question people would ask is, if it was a routine rotation, people would ask, where was the replacement troop? I mean, my colleague has talked about the fact that they were even withdrawn in the first place. But if it was routine rotation, as we know happens, the replacement troop, what happened to them? That gap, what happened in that period? Was there supposed to be a replacement troop? And if there wasn't, why were they even there in the first place? Because they were going to leave again. So what these questions, could you help us make sense of it?
Well, I think we must begin to note this and note that the military can be moved, person can be moved to anywhere, depending on where there is a red alert. I must say that. But as you have said, if they have to be moved and they moved, immediately, even before they move, there must be a replacement. But here, there was no any replacement. they move. Even the governor himself is angry about this. And I think the military, the Nigerian army, has to give us explanation on this. What really happened?
Right. Permit me, Prof, we now have General Chris Olukolade retired with us. General Olukolade was former Director of Defense Information in Nigeria. General Monsa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you, even though the movement doesn't support the measure. Let's take it from there, and I'm sure you heard Professor Yesoji, why he made the submission on the matter. How does it work? You have managed information for the Nigerian Defense Headquarters before. You have been at the top echelon on, as far as Nigerian military is concerned. Governor Nasir Idris of Kebbi State said there was an intel, and then he acted upon it. He escalated the matter. Security Council meeting was held. Everything was activated. That particular school, government secondary school in Kebbi, Magadanko Wasago in Kebbi State, the officers, quite all right, appeared, secured the place. In fact, they said they integrated, taking pictures, securing, everybody was good. All of a sudden, 3 a.m. on a particular night, they were withdrawn. And less than 1 hour, those assailants came, did the havoc, and the Nigerian state has been involved in bringing them back. How does it work, General? Who gives such an order? If such an order was to be given, is there not supposed to be a replacement, contingent on the ground? And if they were supposed to leave that particular state, was the governor also not supposed to be briefed to say, we are done, we are leaving? Please make this make sense, General.
Well, thank you very much. It's so easy many times to assess back to from outside back to, and quite often we have a lot of assumptions, and that's why the defense headquarters mentioned the fact that this will be investigated, and I believe that that will be done. There are lots of possibilities on what could have happened, and then the series of assumptions may not work as quickly as being declared in this program. For instance, if indeed it's a battle situation, I find a situation where nobody has time to go and inform the governor of the deployment as it is happening. If we get to know that later, maybe if there was no incident. But perhaps because there's now an incident, everybody's questioning them. Nobody knows exactly what has happened. But I can just imagine a lot of possibilities. For instance, maybe not far away from there. I'm saying this is a possibility. I'm not declaring that that's what will happen. Right. Yeah, for instance, maybe by way of the tactics of the terrorists, or in reality, there was another likely incident not too far away location. And the same team, the same unit was tasked to handle that. And in that space of time, a lot of things will happen. That could be a decoy. I'm saying it could be a decoy on terrorists, or indeed to be handled simultaneously. And at that moment, a lot of judge fire of the officers on ground. These are possibilities. But I think that the investigation, which should be very quick, should unravel what happened. But there's this tendency to always probe back the situation from outside and assume so many things. The governor that is living in Nanga might not know what would have transpired. Many times you get intelligence that helps the situation very well. And since there is no incident, nobody thinks that anything serious has been done. It is incident that we begin to query every information related. You never can say whether there were other attacks that were
going on
reported that same night, that environment. Perhaps until when we get the outcome of the investigation.
All right, General, we civilians don't seem to understand what the standard procedure or protocol is. Could you help us understand? I mean, when a troop is withdrawn, what is the next thing to do? I mean, those people, the attackers, they raided that school for the length of time that they did, and there was no response. What was the next military checkpoint? What was the closest or the nearest to that place? And those who left, was there no intelligence to have said, something is going on around that area and they should be moved back, or there should be a redeployment of sorts? So help us understand what the standard procedure or protocol is.
Well, yeah, still in line with these assumptions, I have a feeling that there is likelihood that it is not only the military that was deployed in this mission.
Okay.
And then there could have been those who should hold the ground, even if the military aspect has to take another assignment. Again, I'm saying all of this as a matter of assumption.
Okay.
The possibility that other troops would have been tasked to hold the ground while these people are off the mission area. The possibility is there, and that's the proper thing. If indeed they were sure that an attack was forthcoming, they wouldn't have just left that place bare. Apart from that, and you know, when the mission succeeds, we talk of you know, joint operations, security, other security agencies are part of it. And so quite often when it fails, we want to keep the blame on the but you know, I'm just saying many possibilities that could be either proved or disproved by way of outcome of the investigation.
All right. And by the way, we must say, as we are seeing it, obviously, the general is on transit, and that's why we're having some of these you know, and we appreciate you actually, but we will appreciate more if actually you can speak up a bit so that it can be helpful, because we really need you for this conversation, General. Now, beyond the issue in Kebbi, you know, there was an abduction in Papili, again, in Niger State, almost 200, between 200 and 300. We don't have the right numbers or the exact numbers right now, have happened. What do you think is fueling this wave of attack? And I'm asking this because you have, I keep saying it, you have sat on the highest level of, you know, information management as far as the military is concerned in Nigeria. Before, do you think we are back in that pre-2014, 2015 era? Because that time was notorious for school abductions, Dapchi, Ankara, Brini Kebbi, Chibok, and all of these things. Why this wave of serious attack in less than 10 days, General?
Well, it's so unfortunate, but there are several possibilities to explain this. One, the fact that normally, even the terrorists follow current affairs, and they want to know how to key into it and perpetrate terrorism. Of course, terrorism is creating fear and doubt in the system of governance. And so, having noted that the international community is interested in this security situation in Nigeria, and they want to prove that they are still relevant, and then they could have heightened their mission for this reason. Apart from that, if we note that even when there is a lull, even when there appears to be a lull in their activities, it's either they are mobilizing funds, mobilizing logistics, and waiting for the appropriate time to come and strike. But this is one of the time they found appropriate. Having studied the situation of you know, international pressure on Nigeria, demanding that Nigeria should prove that there is security. And so, having mobilized enough resources through a lot of other illegal activities they've been doing lately, this happens to be the time for them to strike and make the point that will get them noticed globally. That's one possibility. There is also the likelihood that all of these are simply coincidental. Quite often, we've always looked forward to having them completely degraded that they cannot operate the way they confirm. But unfortunately, they continue to prove that there is a way they can make their relevance felt.
All right, General.
These are, yeah.
All right, General, let's go back to accountability and transparency now. So many hearts are distraught. Parents, I mean, on different, levels. Staffs were abducted, members of staff were abducted, students were abducted. So, parents on several levels. This, the findings of the probe, would they be made public, or it's just going to be limited to internal security channels?
No, from the trend, now I can assure you it's made public. It's difficult to even keep it to the system. If you look at the approach of the military for managing its operations lately, anytime there's an investigation, either it leads to a controversial or whatever, the public is often informed of the outcome. I believe that we apply in this instance. And not just that, it's difficult to hide this with the level of interest that have been shown. I can show you that even the military itself is disturbed. And for that reason, this kind of situation to get it. If the military could commercial officers for the negligence in the past, this will not be an exception.
All right. But we still have Prof. Jeremy. But before we go to him, Prof, General, now there is this, back and forth between the U.S. government and the Nigerian state, and some words were used by the American President Donald Trump, who called Nigeria, your country, my country, a disgraced country, and he was talking about targeted killings against Christians in Nigeria, and in which later he said he even mobilized the Department of War to say, get ready. And the person in charge, Peter Exet, said, yes, sir, we are ready, just give the command. And President Donald Trump said, if the Nigerian state doesn't put its act together, because they feel they are complicit on this matter of killings against people, especially targeted killings against Christians, they said they are going to come in. It's going to be fast, it's going to be vicious, it's going to be swift. That was the words of Donald Trump. And we're learning there has been conversation, heated up conversations at the Congress on maybe the US president will get the congressional support to come into Nigeria and take out the people that Donald Trump, US president, called Islamic jihadists. Let me ask you, as a Nigerian, as a military officer, retired, are you open to that intervention of the United States to come into Nigeria? They have said they are not invading Nigeria as a state. They are coming out to take out the Islamic jihadists. Any help at this time, will it not be welcome? What's your position on
that? There are international protocols as to missions that will be carried out in sovereign states. Nigeria remains a sovereign state. I think most of all this conversation on this issue.
All right.
Better resolved in diplomatic circles. It will involve the two states to agree. And I think much of what is out there in the media are beyond the normal description of the situation. I believe that the United States as a country still respects the sovereignty of Nigeria as a state, and not in the language that most people have narrated this to either undermine or usurp our sovereignty as a state. Yes, there's need for collaboration and assistance, and it's not the first time this kind of experience has happened. In fact, in the past, in the fight in this terror, this is not the first time that Americans or other countries and the international bodies have had offer to help, offer to intervene and assist us. Terrorism is a global issue, and everybody is concerned about it. And to that extent, it is not out of place either to seek assistance or to offer assistance. But I think that would be better sorted out diplomatically and in a very decent manner than not use sovereignty of states.
All right. Please hang in there if you can, General. Prof is still here. I need your opinion on that as well, because just like General said, Prof, some are saying this is a sovereign nation. If we need help, we will ask. Don't force help on us. But for people in Benue and, you know, Plateau, I'm sure they don't mind any help that they can get right now. What's your position on this matter?
Oh, thank you so much.
Well,
you also
I'm not
recall
getting
that.
you very clearly.
Okay, we come to you, General. We have a prof here. The question is for him.
Okay. All right.
Oh, thank you so much. First, let me appreciate the intervention of retired General Chris Olukolade. Thank you, General Retired. As going to your question, I think a few weeks ago we also discussed this issue about the message of President Donald Trump. The question is, do we have issues or not in the country? Yes. The question is, do we have killings or not in the country? Yes. As you have said, people from Benue State, of course, it is who feels the heat. They feel the heat, like many other places in the country. So at this point in time, just like the General said, it will not be out of place for us to get assistance. Every country get assistance. I know many countries that get assistance. And as he said, Nigeria has received assistance in the past. You must also get assistance. You must seek assistance. But one thing I take exception to is the President of the US calling our country a disgraced nation. Every Nigerian, every patriotic Nigerian should take exception to that. I think for me, it's not proper. But then we talk about the message. The message is important. What are we doing about the message? I think we should seek assistance for us to be able to get these people out of. Again, I also mentioned it several times, of course, not only on this platform, that one thing about terrorism is that it is very difficult to stamp out terrorism once it starts or it has started. You can do everything to make sure it doesn't occur. When it occurs, it is very, very difficult. By the time you can only mitigate it to the barest minimum, I think as much as possible, we should endeavor to support all what we need to do, get assistance for us to be able to get these people out of our spaces in Nigeria.
All right. You know, we'll just take General's part in short.
Yeah.
Do you still trust the Nigerian army that you have always been part of the retirement, even out of retirement now, to handle this matter? Because some will say the Nigerian military, especially the Nigerian army, they are hugely overwhelmed and overstretched. General, that's for you, sir.
Well, thank you. This has been an issue over a period, and even when we were talking of deployment a while, that crossed my mind. And this an aspect of these operations that Nigerians have got to come to terms with. It will take a long while to explain how we came to this situation. But indeed, to the Nigerian army and government as a whole, I think every effort is being made to incrementally step up both the logistics and the manpower required to handle this situation. This situation came upon us unawares, but it has been quite a tremendous effort to adjust and to cope so far. To some extent, most of the missions have been out of the normal preoccupation of the military. But by training, they've had to adjust to it as a need. And every effort is being made to cope. And I don't think that means they are too overstretched. Indeed, every resource in this country is overstretched in response to this. And the military is part of that.
All right, thank you very much, General Chris Olukolade, former Director of Defense Information of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us this morning and for helping us make sense of these issues. And
thank you for this privilege.
All right, and thank you too to Prof. Oyesoji Aremu, a security scholar at University of Ibadan. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you.
All right, we hope to see you both again, or not on these terrible issues though, but to help us make sense of other issues as well. All right, that's the size of the program this morning. Right. It's been an enlightening conversation, a robust one at that. Right. We hope that in the coming days, we won't have to sit down here again to talk about school abductions, but to talk about what great steps our military, other security agencies have been taking to mitigate, all of these, and that we are having a new phase, a new era in Nigeria where we're having peace, security, all around the country. Right. All right, it's the first installment of Morning Spring on Western Spring Television for the week. We hope to see you again tomorrow for the second installment. My name is Temitope Ajijola Oluwala. See you tomorrow.
And of course, I am Femi Ojo. I'll leave you with this word in the words of the Afrobeat superstar, Burna Boy. He said, you go explain, tire, because evidence knows this. At this point, explanation doesn't cut it. What we need is evidence. Bring our girls back intact, safe, and sound. I'll see you tomorrow.